Next up, I am going to talk a little bit about color grading. So let's just imagine that I have just corrected these 3 clips so that they look more like they don't, but let's just imagine that that's what we're going to do now. So I have corrected my footage and now I want some grading. So the first thing I do is that I create a new adjustment layer. And the way to do that is to activate my file panel over here and then go through File, New and Adjustment Layer. And if I click Adjustment Layer, I get the options here. I just say OK because it's already set to the dimensions I have in my footage. And now I have an adjustment layer. I'm dragging that on top of my footage and prolonging it so it covers all my clips. And right now it's just empty, so basically I can't see anything. It's also like adjustment layers that you know from Photoshop. But the first thing I want to do is I want to adjust some color. So let's imagine that we want to give a blue tone to this whole little sequence of footage. I can go to my curves over here, and I can choose the blue color. And then I can increase, let's say I want to increase the color in the shadow tones, and I can just increase it like this, and now you can see that all my clips have this blue tint. So that's the way to work with an adjustment layer and grading. Another way to grade my footage is to use presets. If we have a look in the effects, you can see that we have some options. We have some presets, Lumity presets, audio effects, and so on and so forth. In the folder called Lumity presets, if I open that, you can see that I have a lot of different grading presets that are designed already that I can look through. And I have small thumbnails out here, so I can have a kind of guideline about how they are looking. And once I find something that I like, for example, CineSpace 50, I might think that it's a little bit too over the top, so it's too intense. And the way to work around that is to go to make sure that you have selected the adjustment layer, and then go up to the opacity, and then you can change the opacity from 0 to 100, and then decide how intense you want the effect to be. So that's how to work with presets and the intensity of presets. The last thing I want to show you is to work with a vignette. And again, I am going to my project panel over here, and I'm dragging in another adjustment layer. If I drag in another adjustment layer from the same adjustment layer that I created earlier, I will get a new adjustment layer with no settings, with no effects on it. And you can see over here I have just motion, opacity and time remapping, and there is nothing on it at all. And with this new layer selected, I can go over to my Lumetri color panel again, and I can open vignette, and then I can add a vignette effect to my image or my footage. Vignette effects are actually deriving from old movie cameras, where the corners were already always a little bit black. But here you can see I can both add white and black vignettes. I can change the midpoint and the roundness and the feather of it. So play around with it, but maybe remember the guidelines that a vignette should always be invisible. So it should be so little that we actually don't really notice that there is a vignette, but it can sometimes help the eye on focusing in on the most important. But don't overuse it. That was it for now.